adventures. So, I was on Facebook and it said events nearby, and I was at a production studio talking about a possible project, and I was like, it's done at 9, so I'll try to sneak in. So that was a fail because I was just gonna stand in the back. But they asked if I could maybe say a couple things. So I think the important thing is this, is that most people lose every day. Most people are living just a mediocre life. They've settled. And it's just so sad for me that just so many people just settle in life. I've had every dream I've ever wanted come true. And I don't deserve that. I was just talking to a friend of mine that, like, it's important that you have a goal, but then you get after that goal, but you're gonna fail. Like, the important thing is that, like, that's not the problem is failing, it's giving up that's the problem. Amen. And I guess I just didn't give up. And I had some great people around me when I wanted to give up to talk me out of it. This is what I love about this big crazy family, is that there's a lot of people that want to see you win. And that's how you win, is that you don't give up. And you get knocked down and you keep getting back up. But I feel really blessed to be able to be part of something so big and so great. And they asked me, I was in Canada last week, and they said, what was my favorite part? And my favorite part was hearing everybody's stories. Because that's what inspires me, is that it's okay to dream again. I see so many people, especially moms. I see a lot of tired moms and bored dads. Like, that's not how life should be, right? It's like moms are tired and dads are bored, and it's just like, you know, they're trying to make the best of it for their kids. And you know what? Life is so much bigger than just trying to make the best of it for your kids. You know what your kids need to see? Your kids need to see that you're in love, and they need to see you pursue, chase a dream, it not always work out, and you not give up. In fact, I think even what's more important than them seeing you accomplish the dream is seeing you fail, not giving up, and then getting that dream accomplished. I'd much rather have that than just everything go right, because it's not gonna always go right. There's a great philosopher, Mike Tyson, you might have heard of him. And he said this, everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face. Right? So a lot of you are gonna get out here and you're excited and you're gonna have this big plan, and then guess what life will do? Life will punch you in the face. Like, you know, it's important that, you know, planning is essential, plans are useless. Like, yeah, there's a plan, but it's not always gonna go as you planned. You know, some of you are CDO. If you don't know what CDO is, you're so OCD that you have to put it in alphabetical order. That's how OCD you are. And it's just like, you have to have, it has to work this way. It's not gonna work this way. You need to have fun in life. Okay, what people are gonna be attracted to, here's what, we talk about the difference between advertising and adventure. Many of you, if you think that it's just about you going and posting a bunch more on social media, over your next year, if you take all your friends, the average person has 388 friends, which will generate 1,500 posts a day for you on your timeline, which will produce 500,000 posts a year. Are you hoping to get your friends to post more? Or are you just wishing that somebody would listen to you? So maybe go out here and listen better. Social media is not about broadcasting your TV channel. I'd say when, this is also part of the problem, is we see somebody's highlight reel and you're in your pajamas eating Cheetos, watching reruns of Friends. And you're like, their life is amazing and my life isn't. And like, you're just watching their highlight reel. You don't know that they're 3 months behind on their bills and they're about to have everything taken. You don't realize that they're using, you know, some apps to look that good. Like, you know, you're just seeing a highlight reel. So I think many times for me, like, the best way to be encouraged is to be an encourager. Social media, all social media does is it accelerates what's already going on. So if you have a problem with jealousy, it's just gonna help you get jealous faster. Okay? It's not Facebook's fault. Like, it's a thing that you gotta deal with. So you know what, like, let's deal with it, because all social media is it's not buttons and technology. Social media is about being a good friend. And it's gonna help you listen better. It's gonna help you do a lot of things better. My business plan has only ever been this: to help my friends and to make more friends. If that's what you'll focus in on, is to say, how can I be a really good friend today? Because we have some amazing products that'll help your health. Like, be a product of the product. I've been, using them. I tried it all out before I even considered being part of the adventure. That's gonna help people in a lot of ways, but more than even just that, we can provide hope. Social media helps accelerate that hope. I was just telling a story, and it's still like really fresh, so it gets me still emotional, because today my mom had chemo again because she has stage 4 kidney cancer, and I was in Orlando, and I was at one of these, and I realized I've been so wanting to help other people with their dreams that maybe I didn't have some of my own dreams back on the dream board. And I realized, well, you know what? We just found out this about my mom, and I realized that it doesn't matter how much money I have, who I knew, how smart I was, I can't add any more, I can't add another day to her life. But then I was in a room just like this when I realized I could add life to her days. And then that is a much bigger difference, because I think some of us, what we want to do is we want to control so much that we want to control days to people's lives, instead of just being present with people, listening, being a good friend. Because what you can do out of here is you can add life to people's days. You can get moms and dads to spend more time as families. I think sometimes we look at people who have this life and say, wow, that's just kind of like weird compared to like what the average American does. We have 10,000 years of human history that's been written down. Do you know for 9,800 of them, that's what we did? We worked as a trade as a family. We worked the ground as a family. We had a homestead, and we stayed together, and that's when we first learned teamwork. Like, that's what was important. And it's only really in the last couple hundred years that what's normal is that you leave that family, spend most of your time with strangers, to just be part of somebody's machine, even though it's not a factory, it is. That you can be replaced, you have an employee identification number, like it's just, and we say that's normal and this is crazy. I would say that's crazy, and you need to love a new normal. So we get to be a part of that, and and so I took my mom. I'm a first-generation American. My family's from Norway, and not just Norway. I found out they're from the Arctic Circle, Norway, like 200 miles north of the Arctic Circle. Like the tip of Alaska is still south. Like 6 months light, 6 months dark. Place, the Laplands. Reindeer, legit, polar bears will kill you. Polar bears will cut you, that's what they'll do, right? And she hasn't been back in over 60 years. She left as a little girl. And so I decided this has afforded me the opportunity that I get to take my mom, and so for her birthday I surprised her to take her back to her village. Found out that it was actually an island in the Arctic Circle, and so we got there, and my grandfather was a pastor, and we didn't know what church though, because it was during the Nazis had burned our records, and it was during World War II. And so there was no record of where it was, and we didn't know, and so my mom was tired, and we had to take a short trip between chemo, and there was all these reasons why we were kind of starting to talk ourselves out of going and trying to find it. And so on the way to the airport, because we don't want to miss our flight, we need to get back. She's tired. It's light outside the whole time. Nobody's sleeping, right? We don't speak the language. Who knows what weird thing they believe? I don't know. Like there's so many things that you just go, we justify, right? Like we do that every day in our lives. Tomorrow I'll do that. Well, when this is right. Here's what I'll tell you. There's never going to be a good time. It's just about taking your life back. And so I decided at the last minute that we're going to go try to find it. And we went, we sat in the service. I didn't understand anything that they said. And at the end, they brought up this picture, and it was of my grandfather. And it said 1940 to 1945. And there was one guy that spoke English, and he said, do you know your grandfather's a hero? And we never knew what happened to the family. And he said, explain why. Well, the reason that he left everything is to protect your family, because it turns out he was part of the resistance and built a radio tower in the steeple, and he saved countless people's lives. And we went, and they showed me where the library was and where my mom stayed in the church and all that. And they took out a book, and they said, let's see if we can find where some of the history part is. And there in the middle of it was all of my mom's birth records. And it was all the story of our family, and it was all in my grandfather's handwriting. Because it turns out they didn't keep those records, that when you're the pastor of the church, your family's records were kept where the church was. And that story is not about telling you my story. The story is telling me about your story. Is that book was sitting on a shelf for 60 years, waiting for me to say yes. Because every day, people say no.